everyone, welcome to the kickoff of a year in the TikTok of Marissa. Yes, we are doing shit Marissa says. And we're going to start from the November 1st, 2021 TikTok, which is this. So we'll actually be skipping over this particular one because it's just her showing off different earrings that she's made. But we're going to go ahead and go through them. This one is going to be a short one, as is the Fat Sapphic Bro, just because I felt like doing some shorter videos this week. I might alternate a little bit between doing the really long hour and a half videos and some of these shorter ones. Like the hour and a half will be one creator for the week, and then these shorter ones, about 30 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes-ish, will cover a couple of different creators that week. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into it.
I'm leaving at 4 p.m. and I don't care what anyone says.
Maybe if you had a business that you were passionate about, then you would know what it takes to run a business, but you don't. So don't even act like you know what I'm talking about.
I'm leaving at 4.
Okay, so the first caption says, we shouldn't comment on people's food videos without consent because that's harassment. Which is just completely wrong. I swear, Marissa has no real concept of what harassment is and the concept of consent. This is a public platform. It is not immoral to comment on someone's video without their consent. That's not how that works. That's not how social media works. If this is what Marissa wants, then she should change her channel, her TikTok, to private. I think to a certain extent, though, this is said, and this is her viewpoint, because it gives her the chance to be a victim. Marissa's very much about being a victim.
p.m. and I don't care what anyone says.
Maybe if you had a business that you were passionate about, then you would know what it takes to run a business, but you don't. So don't even act like you know what I'm talking about.
Oh my goodness, I could not get that thing to pause. Okay. So, and I hate that it kept hearting it. It kept, like, hearting and unhearting it without pausing it. I don't know why it was doing that. That was driving me up the wall. Okay. But anyway, the other captions say, but they need to know eating that is bad for them, but they need to know how many calories are in it because that's important to some people. But I just care about their health. Regardless of whether someone is commenting on it, they might genuinely, I think there are some people that genuinely are trying to give information about what you're eating, because there's a lot of misconceptions about what's healthy and what's not in just the general vernacular, and there is some people that are like, oh wow, that looks really good, but having the calorie information does bring it back to reality some. If you don't want that, that's fine, I get it, but then it's a public platform, ultimately. It comes down to the fact that it is a public platform. If you do not want people commenting on your video for whatever reason, don't post or make your account private.
What's up, friends? Welcome back to Shit Marissa Says What I Eat in a Day as an Intuitive Eater. Coffee and my go-to yogurt bowl.
So we'll go ahead and cover this what I eat in a day, but we're probably not going to do very many of these. I don't really like covering what I eat in a days too much, but we'll use similar rules. We'll do one like out of every 5 or so, depending on how often she does these.
All have not got sick and tired of this yet. Greek yogurt, some nuts, granola, and some strawberries with a little bit of honey. Then later on in the day I had a garlic naan bread with some roasted red pepper hummus, and it was so freaking good. Cheese and tomatoes. Oh, look at that melt.
I gotta be honest, that does not look good to me. I don't think if she likes it, more power to her. I personally don't think it looks very good, and a lot of what she's had so far today is very carby. The reason why I say that is because carbs aren't inherently bad, but if all you're having is carbs, you're gonna get hungry a lot more often and eat more calories that way. And I know she says she doesn't care, but this is my perspective, and this is my YouTube channel, so I can comment however I feel necessary.
Cheese! Oh, it was so freaking good, and it's so easy to do. That's why I really like eating it. Now, I would like to emphasize that when you intuitive eat, not every day is the same. Some days I eat
crackers, again, more carbs, and this is almost over. Where's the protein, girl? You need some protein. I mean, there is some protein in naan bread and some protein in hummus, but it's not like a really good protein source by any means.
less and others I eat more, and either is okay. What's
So pretty much she only had carbs. There was some protein in the Greek yogurt, some protein in the naan bread, some protein in the hummus, but none of those were like significant. I guarantee none of those were significant amounts of protein. Marissa has talked before about like being low energy some days, and she attributes that to depression, and it could the depression could play a part in it. But I guarantee when you eat nothing but carbs, I understand a lot of the fat logic talking points like to say that carbs are the body's preferred like energy source. Yes and no, because with carbs comes a spike in blood sugar, which comes with a crash of blood sugar, and you're going to be exhausted. And if all you're having is carbs without any protein or fat to kind of spread out that energy, slow down the energy absorption, it's or the calorie absorption, you know what I mean, to slow down the sugar absorption, I guess, of the carbs, because all carbs end up being treated more like sugar in the body. Without fat or protein to help stretch those carbs out, because it takes longer for the body to process them. No wonder you're exhausted. And I say this also from experience. Like, there was, when I was late teens, early 20s, I ate a lot of carbs. I ate a lot of carbs and a lot of sugar, and I was always exhausted. I've never been diagnosed with depression or anxiety, but I do think that I experience at least something similar to those. And I've noticed that I've had fewer episodes of those when I eat right. When I eat high protein, moderate fat, moderate carb, that sort of thing. All of this carby intake is going to exhaust you. Have any meals that hold a lot of protein and iron in them. I keep passing out from not having enough. Cheese and meat for sure, and then a green veggie usually works. Interesting. She's giving advice. All right, we're gonna move on.
Stupid fucking whore! So I'll just shut the fuck up!
The caption says, when a fat person exists and everyone thinks that our existence is consent for unwanted advice, and so we get harassed and bullied for existing.
I'll just shut the fuck up for good now, huh? Yeah, you fucking want that? Yeah? We are fucking over!
So here's my question, because Marissa says that existence is consent for unwanted advice, and then turns that into harassment and bullying. Does she equate the unwanted advice with harassment and bullying? Because they're not exactly the same thing. There are, like, don't get me wrong, I understand the concept of unwanted comments, unprompted comments. I'm child free. I don't plan on having children. I am asexual. I don't aromantic, and I don't want a relationship or anything. And I've had people, be like, "Oh, you'll find someone," or "Oh, you'll want baby someday," or that sort of thing, where it's just kind of like, no, I won't. I don't consider that harassment and bullying. I don't think and don't get me wrong, I don't think that the unwanted advice is polite. I think oftentimes it's rude. There was a coworker I had at a job that was very, like, public facing, and more than one time, he was very overweight, nice man, very overweight, and more than once I heard someone just come up and say, they have because his job was very sedentary. It's like, they have those seats with the pedals on them, so you can get moving and you can burn a lot of calories. They would go into that, and it's like, dude, he is working. He can't leave. You should probably just leave. I don't agree with just approaching random people and giving them advice. If you're, okay, it was a library, and if you're checking out some, like, weight loss books, and he makes a comment, "Oh yeah, man, I'm like on a weight loss journey or something, and then you give the advice, then it's a little bit more prompted. There's a little bit more of a back and forth going on. To say it completely unprompted while you're checking out your best-selling mystery novel, it's not welcome and it's not helpful. I still don't think it's harassment or bullying. I think it can be a little rude, depending on how it's delivered especially, but I don't think it's harassment or bullying.
You're not very pretty, and you're not very bright. I'm so glad we had that talk.
So the little description thing says over here, when someone comments I think she means on my body without consent. This whole she has no real comment of what consent. You are on a public platform. There is an implicit consent there, whether you like it or not. There is an implicit consent when you post something on a public platform, on a social media platform that is designed for anyone to be able to comment on whatever you do. You are giving implicit consent to be commented on. Whether you like it or not, that's part of being on the internet. If that is not what you want, and you do not consent to that, and you do not want that, then you need to make your account private. You can't have here's the thing, Marissa, and this is something I think I've noticed in some of the other FAs. We'll even see it a little bit with Fat Sapphic Bro, because they do not understand how social media works. You can't have all of the positive comments and the admiration of people that agree with you and the positive attention and the compliments or whatever, without also getting the criticism and some of the negative comments as well. This is true for every social media. I've gotten some negative comments myself. I've gotten some people that just, I think, have even been a little bit rude before. I just choose, I either defend myself or I just let it go. And more, I'm just letting it go because I don't want to get into a pissing match with people. Like, they're allowed their opinion. They can put their comment on my YouTube video. That's fine. Go ahead. I'm not going to delete it because I believe in letting my detractors voice their opinion. And as long as it is not a violent threat, because I had some of those on a Let's Play channel that I ran once. That crosses a line for me. That I'm not okay with. But if they are just, even if they're cussing me out, which I haven't had, but even if they're cussing me out, leave it up. It says more about them than it says about me. But this whole thing about commenting on my body without consent, you are on a social media platform, a public platform. Your account is public. This is implicit consent that people can comment whatever the fuck they want. If you do not like this, you can either delete their comment, which is an option. That's all Fat Sapphic Bro does all day, apparently. Or you can turn your account to private. You can turn off comments, even. You can turn off comments, but the truth is that you don't want to turn off comments because you like the compliments that you get. Because there are people that comment, "Oh my god, I love this. The slow-mo walk is everything." Comments about the mom in the back. "Beautiful. Your hair is amazing. Just saying. Love the color." She gets compliments too, but with the compliments, with the positive attention, will also come negative attention because it's fucking social media.
You know, I've realized that I'm probably just perfect, and it's everybody else around me that's got issues. You know,
If that's not Marissa in a fucking nutshell. The little description thing says, when people want you to change your body for their own discomfort instead of them just unlearning their fat phobia. So I think there's a lot more that goes into it specifically for Marissa. We're not even talking about other FAs right now, but there's more that goes into it. It's not that they want you to change your body. It's that you are demanding people find you attractive. You are putting consent arguments where they don't belong. You are just kind of a rude person. For those that struggle to articulate what about you is so negative, and I apologize, you can hear my dog. She is being very vocal right now. We have a neighbor dog that likes to bark until it triggers my dog, and my dog will charge outside, and then the neighbor dog acts disinterested. It's this whole thing that goes on. It's fun. for people that struggle to articulate why they dislike you, they tend to go for a easy blow, which is your weight. There's so many more reasons to dislike you. We're just gonna move on. Fat phobia isn't a thing. And I don't care that you're fat. I care that you are saying that you're oppressed.
Cut my life into pieces. This is my last resort. Suffocation.
Commenting on people's bodies is not okay.
No breathing. Don't give a fuck if I cut my arm bleeding. Grab your
Assuming someone's health based on their appearance is fat phobic.
girls and then you grab a couple more and you all can meet me in the middle of the floor. Set the air is
Self-love doesn't come from shrinking your body.
sick. It's smelling right. And so I pass it to the left and then you say.
Intuitive eating can help you unlearn diet culture ideals. So let's go back through these real quick. Diets don't work. I agree with this to an extent, but not the way that Marissa would like. I don't think that going into a fad diet is helpful. I think if you're going into a diet believing it's going to be a temporary situation and then you'll be able to go back to eating the way you were, no, they're not. I mean, they'll work initially to help you lose the weight, and then you will regain the weight, because what you need is consistency. You need to be doing stuff that you can maintain for the rest of your life. So doing something in a temporary way is not going to solve your weight issue. I agree with that. Assuming someone's health based on their appearance is fat phobic. I love that. It's like assuming someone's health based on their appearance is fat phobic. So it's always fat phobic, even if, and I understand this is a disingenuous argument, but I just like to take every once in a while take their comment very literally. So I live in a pretty height tweaker populated area. You can tell when they are not well, and I would argue that they are unhealthy. They are often rail thin, and you can tell that they don't eat much because they are doing, I think the big one around here is heroin. That's fat phobic. There's a couple of different ways that you can judge someone's appearance as unhealthy. Fat is one of them, especially for someone of Marissa's size. Like, it's very clear all that fat around the belly is not good for her. It affects the organs. It's not good. There's ways that you can see someone that they're not healthy. There are a lot of illnesses that show up visibly on the body. Just because you can deem someone as unhealthy doesn't mean that you have a lower moral opinion of them. Although, getting back onto like the actual fatness topic, if someone is so big that they can't move well on their own, or they get really out of breath from walking, a couple of yards, then no, they're not healthy. We can see that on them. Obesity is an illness, and it's one of the illnesses that you can visibly see on the body. And then lastly, intuitive eating can help you unlearn diet culture ideals. Intuitive eating could be good for certain people. I don't know. I've never done it, and I don't really care to. But I don't think that this is like a diet, it's going to help you unlearn diet culture. No, it can actually be pretty detrimental to you, I think, if you are not someone that it is good for. From what I understand, intuitive eating can be good for those recovering from eating disorders, specifically like the restrictive eating disorders. I think you promoting intuitive eating as a moral imperative is as bad as anyone promoting keto as a moral imperative.
Nuanced November, let's go. Thin women can smoke 50 cigarettes a day and only eat KFC and no one says anything, but when a fat woman wears a crop top, it's like you're promoting death. 1 in 6 physicians is reluctant to perform pelvic exams on their obese patients. Feminism is the radical idea that women's safety is more important than men's ego. Using BMI to gauge health is like using a mood ring to diagnose mental illness. And BMI was created in the 1800s when cocaine was recommended as a health supplement. Fat phobia is considered the last acceptable form of discrimination.
We're going to go through each of these. Thin women smoke 50 cigarettes a day and only eat KFC. And no one says anything, but a fat woman wears a crop top and it's like you're promoting death. I think that's a misrepresentation. People will judge the skinny woman smoking cigarettes while eating KFC. At least in the US, they will. As for the crop top promoting death, a lot of times I would say I think that's a bit of an over-exaggeration. I don't think most people have an issue with big people wearing crop tops, other than maybe they're like, I don't think that looks good. They might have an opinion about it, but they're not necessarily going to call it a moral issue. What does it seem to universally get under people's skin, mine included, is when you wear the crop top and you say you should find me as attractive as you find the skinny girl. You don't get to police people's thoughts or people's attraction. That's the issue. 1 in 6 physicians is reluctant to perform pelvic exams on their obese patients. I don't know the legitimacy of this. I'm going to see. I'm going to open an incognito window, but we're going to see. So, we do have this thing from CNN. It's from 2010, though. It's 12 years old. Who's more than 20 may actually have high cure risk of getting poor medical treatment. Okay, but I'm really curious about reluctant on very obese or very reluctant patients. Let's see. Again, this is from 2010, 2009, so it's old. But so that just one goes to show a lot can change in those 10 years. Granted, they may have a newer study. They may be referring to something newer, but they didn't cite anything, so this is what I have. We're just going to read the abstract because I don't really want to go into a deep dive. This is just the TLDR of the whole thing, so there is not any real nuance going with this. Keep that in mind. We're just reading the abstract because I don't want to go into a big long thing like I do with Fat Dr. UK. Extremely obese patients are less likely than non-obese patients to receive breast and cervical cancer screening examinations. Reasons for this disparity are unclear and may stem from the patient and or physician barriers. This sequential mixed method study used individual in-depth interviews of 15 family physicians followed by a male survey of 255 family physicians to understand the barriers they faced in performing cancer screening examinations in extremely obese women. Barriers fell into 3 main areas: difficulty doing pelvic and breast exams, inadequate equipment, and challenges overcoming patient barriers and refusal. This led some physicians to avoid performing breast and pelvic examination on extremely obese women. Having more knowledge about specific examination techniques was associated with less difficulty in palpating lumps on breast and pelvic examinations. Physicians perceive that embarrassment, aversion to undressing, and avoidance of discussions related to their weight were the most frequent barrier extremely obese women had to getting physical examinations. Educating and or motivating patients and addressing fears were strategies used most frequently when patients refused mammograms or pap smears. Interventions focusing on physician barriers, such as educating them on specific examination techniques, obtaining adequate equipment and supplies, and providing resources to assist physicians in dealing with patient barriers and refusal, may be fruitful in increasing cancer screening rates in extremely obese patients. So, granted, this is an over 10-year-old study, but from the sound of it, the 3 main things were difficulty in doing pelvic or breast exams. So part of the reason why a physician may be reluctant to perform pelvic exams is because they don't, it may be more difficult to do on an obese patient and more difficult to do correctly. Also, inadequate equipment. If they don't have what they need to perform the exam properly because the patient is so obese, that can also make them reluctant. And then there's also issues with the patients themselves. They say 1 in 6 physicians is reluctant, but I think that that's a misrepresentation when one of the numbers that I saw was 17%, which would be roughly 1 in 6, not entirely, but roughly, but that includes those that where the patient was the difficult one. So that's not entirely a great representation of that. Again, this is the TLDR, and this study is from 2009, I don't know of any newer ones, and I'm not going to invest a whole lot of energy into checking those when they don't provide any specific link themselves for examination. That's just a general look at it. Even this little clip that they offer seems to be a misrepresentation of what's actually going on. And I'm going to leave it there. Moving on, feminism is the radical idea that women's safety is more important than a man's ego. I always understood feminism to be more about leveling the playing field and reducing discrimination based on gender. But that's me. Using BMI to gauge health is like using a mood ring to diagnose mental illness. I think that's a complete misrepresentation of what the BMI is. The BMI is a measure of health. It's a measure of health. No one's saying that it is the be-all, end-all of health status. No one's saying that it is the only measure of health. It is merely a tool used if you have an excessively high BMI. Statistically speaking, your rates of other illnesses can go up. The fact that it was, and I find this last one interesting, the BMI was created in the 1800s when cocaine was recommended as a health supplement, as though, one, the BMI hasn't morphed or changed with the times at all. It's not like it has been, the original BMI, yes, was created in the 1800s, but it has gone over some medical review in that time. That's why in the 90s, the categories, the cutoffs for the categories were changed. The BMI has been revisited a couple of times to modernize it. And then also, like, comparing that it's invalid simply because at that same time they thought cocaine was a health supplement. It's not even really an argument. Yeah, you've made a couple of examples, but so fucking what? Our opinions on cocaine has changed with the time, just as our understanding of the BMI has changed with time. So that kind of non-argument being made is just dumb. So fat phobia is considered the last acceptable form of discrimination. There's actually a lot of people that would disagree with you because it's all based on perception. Incels think that they're discriminated against too. Doesn't mean that it's valid. And it doesn't... Anyone can feel like a victim and like they are being discriminated against given enough delusion and sense of self-importance. Fat phobia isn't real. I don't think that you calling it discrimination to try to align yourselves with other real issues like homophobia and racism and anti-Semitism and ableism and all of those other things. You are not oppressed. We're going to move on.
I think you need to get off the internet because you're promoting obesity by existing.
That's a really good point, Diane. Thank you so much for bringing that up. Thank you.
I think you...
Alright, so... No, I don't think anyone... There are talks of her promoting obesity, which we're going to set that aside for a moment. I don't think that people say you need to get off the internet for promoting obesity. I think people say you just need to get off the internet because you may very well be promoting obesity, but the big thing is that then you are turning yourself into a victim and calling it discrimination when people disagree with you. That's why I think you need to get off the internet. I think you need to get off the internet because you think that consent applies to TikTok comments. I think that you need to get off the internet and go touch some grass because you seem to lose yourself into an echo chamber, a TikTok echo chamber, where you believe that you are an oppressed class because you are fat. That's what I think you need to get off the internet. Promoting obesity is honestly a small part of it for me. I think the bigger issue is this misinformation about what consent is, the misinformation in general about obesity, and just your general victimhood and martyr complex.
Don't you worry about it, bitch. I know somebody like it.
Alright, so the two captions were, you need to lose weight, no one thinks fat people are attractive, and then after the transition, tell that to the 4 different guys this week. So, I think the majority of people probably don't find morbidly obese people attractive. The whole 4 guys thing, it's already been established that Marissa is a sex worker, and will equate that with the same thing as, like, dating people. At least we saw that in other videos with her. and those two are not compatible. A couple of people have also mentioned that going in for sex work is not quite the same thing as finding someone attractive that you would necessarily date. Like, they're two separate pools. I don't fully know about that or understand that, but that's been something that's been commented on before. Again, it seems to me, though, like Marissa is looking for validation through people finding her attractive. And I kind of find that sad.
10, 10, 10, 20s and the 50s, bitch. I'm a motherfucking star.
So the comment says, when you have your own fan hate club because you exist in the fat body. Now, see, this is, again, Marissa being in her own marginalized, oppressed martyrdom headspace, because Marissa being fat, quite frankly, is at the lower end of her issues. My far bigger issue is that you're fat and then you are saying that you're oppressed because of it. It's the two working together. It's the two working together that's the issue. It's that you're saying that you are an oppressed class and that people should find you attractive, and that posting before and after pictures is a form of violence or something, or some shit like that, and that you're this just a oppressed little darling or something, that simply because of your weight, and that's not the case. Oh, and then the whole consent business. The whole weird concept of consent that she has. Those are the issues primarily that at least I have with Marissa. Now, we are reaching the end of the time that I've allotted for this video. And we started on November 1st of 2021. We are now only on the 12th, so this is going to take us a while to get through. But we have started our Marissa journey. And I'm going to leave it here. I forgot to weigh myself this morning, so I don't really have anything to put in there. I had a very busy week. I had many sub jobs this week, so I'm a little exhausted. I also finished my schoolwork for the quarter this week. I worked ahead and really kind of ran myself ragged, and this whole next week is going to be cake. Thanksgiving week is going to be cake. We're not hosting Thanksgiving at my house for once, which is so nice. I hate hosting Thanksgiving. I'm not a big fan of Thanksgiving to begin with. I don't think the food is that great. I gotta be honest. I don't really care for Thanksgiving food. But there's no kids this week for me. There's parent-teacher conferences, but I don't work in a space that has any of the parent-teacher conferences. So I am cool there. And I'm mostly just setting up for book fair for the kids the week following Thanksgiving. So it's a really nice, easy week for me. I'm going to treat myself to ceramic painting. Probably there's this place that I love, and I haven't been there in months. And I'm going to let myself splurge and paint a new teacup for myself. Not teacup, but like a mug that's going to be my designated tea mug. And I'm looking forward to that. I'm also thinking about going thrifting. So it's a nice relaxation week for me, for the most part. Might do a little bit of Black Friday shopping, but honestly, I'm not as into it. There is this one place, though, that has 50% off socks, and I want to go and get those, and then there's another place that has 60% off scissors. So those are my big Black Friday plans. But that's it for today. I'm trying to think. I don't know which animal I'm going to highlight. I'm going to say for this video, given that it's Marissa, we're also going to do another sassy cat. His name is Snicklefritz. I've decided now, as of now, that's who's going to be put in this video, is Snicklefritz. His name is Snicklefritz. He is an old boy. He's a sweet boy, but he's also fucking trying to kill everyone in the house. Because he wants his food when he wants his food, and he will wait until your back is turned and then sit just enough to where he's not touching your leg so you don't know he's there, and then you trip as you turn around, and then he gets mad because you stepped on him. That's Snicklefritz. He's a very sweet boy otherwise, but he does this shit, and it drives me fucking insane. And it's not fun, first thing in the morning when you're groggy, to constantly be tripping over a cat that is demanding his food. That's Snicklefritz. That's my week. And I think I'm going to end it here. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.